On the eve of the three-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin launching the largest drone attack to date. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy saying this morning that 267 drones were launched across the border overnight from Russia. Well, now G7 leaders are set to meet this week with the anniversary as a backdrop. The U.S. is pushing for a peace deal that Secretary of State Marco Rubio calls simple and historic. He's urging all G7 nations to support, quote, a path to peace. Here with us now is Igor Novikov, the former advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Igor, welcome to the show. I've been looking forward to our conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Likewise, thank you.
Let's start with the drone strike overnight, over 200 drones. Do you expect that to complicate discussions towards a peace resolution?
Well, I don't think it will complicate discussions towards a peace resolution because there's one constant in this war. Whatever happens, whether we're on the road to peace or we're on the road towards escalation, there's always Russian attacks. That's what Putin does. I'm expecting missile attack to come next at some point within the next few days.
Oh, okay, that's terrifying. What's your reaction to the U.S. drafted statement and, of course, the expected resolution that we're hearing about?
Well, President Trump is trying his hardest to get that peace deal on the table as quickly as possible. And I commend him for it. I think peace is long overdue, but at the same time, there's a major difference between peace and surrender. I mean, Russia is very good at playing that, puppeteer behind the scenes. So they're going to be tempting President Trump to get emotional and to try and think that Ukraine is in the way of that peace deal, whereas in reality, it's Russia.
The Pope released a statement just moments ago that I want to read to you, Igor. It says, tomorrow will be the third anniversary of the large-scale war against Ukraine, a painful, shameful occasion for the whole of humanity, end quote. Do you think such a high-profile voice like the Pope can help increase support for Ukraine?
Well, I think he can. But to be honest, I think, look, we have to deal with what Russia thinks on the matter first and foremost, because Ukraine hasn't attacked Russia. It's Russia who attacked Ukraine. It's the likes of North Korea who are supporting Russia. And I think, to be honest, the only real road to lasting peace is in Russia's hands.
How close do you believe we are to seeing that mineral rights deal? That news came out, of course, on Friday. Do you think it will actually happen?
I think it will happen. I think it will happen quite soon. I think that deal is a very good idea because it not only acts as a road to prosperity for both countries, but also as a form of a security guarantee for Ukraine, because we know full well that if President Trump is involved in the business deal, he's not going to let some, genocidal maniac get in the way of that with his weapons. But at the same time, I think Russia, once again, is playing its cards well. It's frustrating President Trump with the lack of progress on the peace deal and getting him to project it on Zelenskyy. So let me get on the record and be very clear. First of all, my President Zelenskyy, is not a dictator. He's got a support of, at the moment, of 63% of the people of Ukraine. That's about 50%, so it's a democracy. President Trump is not a Russian asset. Elon Musk is not a Russian asset. I think it's that disinformation coming from North Korea, from Russia, and probably from China that's kind of trying to manipulate this situation into something it should not be. We're all for peace, we're all for prosperity, and I think that peace is achievable.
I'm glad you mentioned Zelensky's approval ratings because Trump tweeted that his approval ratings are actually low, Zelensky's, and they're not. And for the record, I just want to say I think most Americans don't consider Zelenskyy a dictator, so I'm glad you touched on that as well. Zelenskyy and Trump have shared some choice words with each other just over the past few days. How can the rest of the administration try and smooth things over, again, 3 years into this war?
Well, to be honest, I mean, call me cynical, but I don't care what people say, and that includes both presidents. It's not about emotions. It's about that practical side of things, because I fully agree with President Trump. People are dying needlessly, but it's just who's to blame for that? It's Russia who's bombing Ukraine, not other way around, Secondly, so we need to achieve that peace. Secondly, that minerals deal is just a business negotiation. And, both presidents have their roots in show business, let's put it this way. So obviously, a lot of this gets public, a lot of it gets emotional. I mean, I've been in the room with both of them a number of times. I can tell you, neither means it.
Thank you for that insight. That is crucial. I am curious, Igor, you have vast experience. What else does Ukraine need from the United States besides money, besides weapons?
No, we just need to be allies. I mean, that was our kind of clear and sane choice made in 1991 when, we left the Soviet Union. We didn't want to be part of that Soviet communist bloc, of which Russia is still part of de facto. We wanted to be part of Western society. We wanted capitalism. We wanted prosperity. We wanted peace. And that was a choice. Unfortunately, Russia, that's still living in that Cold War mentality, still thinks we're their kind of sphere of influence, and they're not happy with us being part of the Western world. And I think actually President Trump has a, very good chance at, major legacy here if he helps Ukraine achieve that.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.